What if the secret to building a masterpiece of a life isn't about what you have the courage to add, but about what you have the wisdom to silently chisel away? What if the heaviest chains holding you back from your potential aren't made of iron, but of the invisible habits, relationships, and goals you carry with you every single day? And what if you could learn to break these chains, not with a loud, dramatic explosion, but with the quiet, strategic precision of a master? Today, we reveal 11 things you must learn to silently remove from your life to reclaim your power, your peace, and your purpose. Welcome to a journey of profound reflection and personal transformation. For the next few moments, you have an opportunity to understand yourself on a deeper level, to identify the unseen forces that may be holding you back. We believe the lessons we are about to share have the power to enlighten and fundamentally change your life. Let's begin. 1. Explanations to those who hurt you. There is no need to stand in a courtroom of your own making, pleading your case to the very person who caused you pain. There is no need to complain, to argue, or to seek a final, dramatic confrontation over their bad attitude or betrayal. If someone has made decisions that disrespected you, that fractured your trust, even if they were once a person you held in high regard, the most powerful move is to move on without demanding justification. Stay calm, stay rational, focus your precious energy on your own growth. The urge to make them understand, to have them acknowledge your pain, is a trap. It keeps you tethered to the very source of your hurt. The truly powerful action is to quietly close that door, not with a slam, but with the quiet dignity of self-respect. Let time and their own actions be the consequences, should a day come when that person needs you. A simple and calm no is a complete sentence. You are not obligated to rebuild a bridge they themselves burned down. When you allow yourself to move forward without the burning need to explain or justify your departure, you are showing the deepest respect for yourself and your boundaries. You are making a brave, powerful decision for your emotional well-being. 2. Unnecessary goals. Imagine you are the captain of a great ship, sailing toward a distant horizon. Along the way, you realize that some of the destinations you initially plotted on your map no longer align with your true north. Sometimes, you must abandon certain ports of call to prioritize the path that resonates with your very essence. It is completely normal to adjust your course. We don't always achieve everything we initially plan. In fact, true wisdom lies in knowing what to give up in favor of what truly matters. However, this process of pruning your goals must be done in silence. You do not need to broadcast your changing strategies to the whole world. To do so is to reveal your hand, to leave clues that could expose your ultimate destination. Be smarter, be more strategic, quietly remove the less important objectives. Make gradual, deliberate changes in your life. As the cards are laid out on the table of life, always proceed with discretion, protecting your grand plans and allowing your decisions to be guided by authenticity. 3. The details of ended relationships, whether it's a friendship or a romance. When a connection ends, the intimate details of that relationship must end with it. The space you once shared belongs only to you and the other person involved. There is no need to vent to others, to share the reasons for the fallout, or to air your grievances publicly. To do so only invites gossip and complication. It turns a private experience into public entertainment. If you feel the need to talk, have a conversation with yourself. Reflect, journal. The urge to share every detail often indicates that there are still unhealed wounds that need your private attention, not a public audience. Regardless of the situation, the most dignified action is to analyze what happened quietly, without broadcasting the news to others. Keep these matters private and deal with the issues internally. This will aid in your own acceptance and healing process while preserving the dignity of everyone involved. 4. Uncontrolled displays of negative emotion. During periods of intense tension, Avoid the temptation to raise your voice or display excessive frustration and anger in front of others. Think of this powerful, volatile energy like a fire. You can either let it burn your house down in a wild, uncontrolled blaze, or you can channel it. A wise man takes that fire and directs it into a forge. He uses its heat to power his actions, to advance his life's goals, and to train his body and mind to handle stress. Contain your emotions, reflect on them, and then redirects that accumulated energy into something that strengthens you. Losing control in tense moments not only solves nothing, but it can also expose your vulnerabilities to those who may not have your best interests at heart. Aim to dissipate this tension discreetly by resolving the root issues, fulfilling your responsibilities, and using core reason as your greatest ally. Find a way to relieve emotional pressure quietly, always seeking internal balance. 5. Your judgments of other people. Seriously consider the image you project when you speak ill of someone else. You have the opportunity to have an interesting dialogue, to enrich a conversation, to build something. Instead, you choose to spoil the atmosphere just to vent your negativity. Do not be that person. There is no need to go around declaring who you like or dislike. Learn to be diplomatic. If you don't like someone, you can simply distance yourself from them. If you must interact, maintain a tolerable coexistence and always act intelligently. These negative opinions and judgments you have about others should be immediately discarded from your public discourse. Maintain a respectful and empathetic posture in your interactions. This will contribute to a more harmonious environment and healthier relationships, and it will signal to everyone that you are a person of high character. 6. Constant comparison to others. You are running a marathon. The person next to you is running a 100-meter sprint. Does it make any sense to compare your pace to theirs? Of course not. Each person has their own unique race to run, their own path, their own achievements, and their own successes that should be valued without reference to anyone else. The toxic habit of comparing our lives to others can cripple our emotional well-being and completely halt our personal growth. When we constantly compare, we lose sight of our own goals and desires. We get distracted from what truly matters to us, and instead focus on what we think we should have or achieve based on someone else's life. By consciously and quietly eliminating comparison from your mind, you can cultivate gratitude for your own circumstances and celebrate your own progress. Instead of comparing, focus on your own learning, your own journey, and your own personal development. 7. Unconscious use of social media. Imagine your life is a book, filled with fascinating stories, learnings, and adventures. Now, think of social media as a library where billions of other books are on display, but you are only allowed to see the single most exciting page of each one. As we flip through these glossy, highlight reel pages, we often find ourselves comparing our entire, complex story, with all its challenging chapters, to the single best moment of others. This comparison is not just unfair, it's a recipe for dissatisfaction and envy. You must learn to limit your consumption of these digital stories. Decide to visit this digital library with a clear purpose. You enter, you find exactly what you need, be it connection, inspiration, or information, and then you leave, returning to the reality of your own book, the only story that truly matters. Set specific times to check your social media. Question your intention before you scroll. And if you find yourself feeling down after using these platforms, take that as a signal. It's time to take a break and reconnect with the real world. 8. The pursuit of external approval. We live in a world where it often seems a person's worth is tied to the perceptions of others. But today, I invite you to explore the profound liberation that comes from breaking free from this incessant search for approval. Imagine yourself on a stage. Under the bright, hot spotlights, the audience is watching. The temptation is to constantly change your lines, alter your costume, and shift your character based on their applause or their silence. If you do this for too long, you will forget the role you were originally meant to play. You will lose yourself. Breaking free means becoming your own audience. It means your validation comes from knowing you performed your role with integrity and excellence. Regardless of whether the crowd cheers or not, breaking free from the need for external approval is a monumental step towards self-mastery. But what about the more subtle traps we fall into? The ones that masquerade as comfort, the bad advice we sometimes give ourselves, or the very stories we tell about our own lives. The next few removals are where the deepest, most transformative work truly begins. We left off on the stage of life, under the bright, hot spotlights of external opinion. We saw how freeing it can be to step off that stage, to walk away from the expectant crowd, and to enter a quiet space where the only applause that truly matters is your own. This inner validation is the foundation of true freedom, but this freedom is most powerfully tested and refined in the complex and often messy arena of our relationships. 9. The intimate details of your relationships. Relationships are like mirrors, reflecting the many facets of our lives and shaping who we are. But there is a delicate and sacred line that must be respected, the line of privacy. Think of any deep connection, a friendship or a romance, as a secret garden. It is a shared, sacred space where you nurture emotions, dreams, and special moments. This garden deserves the utmost respect and care. When a relationship ends, it's natural to feel pain, confusion, and a need to process what happened. However, it is essential to remember that the details of this garden, this shared story, belong only to you and the other person involved. You wouldn't invite strangers to trample through your most private garden, pointing out the weeds or criticizing how you've planted your flowers. So why would you do it with the intimate memories of a relationship? By choosing not to divulge these details, you are not only preserving the dignity of both parties, but also protecting your own heart from the prolonged pain that comes from turning a private experience into public gossip. To deal with the end of a relationship healthily, you must give yourself the time and space to heal introspectively. Turn inward, ask yourself what you've learned and how you can use those lessons to grow. Maintaining this discretion is a profound sign of maturity and self-respect. As you close one chapter of your life, do so with grace, knowing that each experience, good or bad, prepares you for what is to come. 10. Unrealistic expectations. Let's embark on an internal journey to explore how our own expectations can shape, and sometimes distort, our perception of reality. Imagine your life is a grand adventure across a vast ocean, and you are the captain of your ship. Each expectation is like a sail on your boat, meant to catch the wind and propel you towards your dreams. However, when these sails are too large, when our expectations become unrealistic, they can become dangerous. They can catch every turbulent gust of wind, threatening to steer us off course and capsize our vessel in the stormy waters of disappointment and frustration. Unrealistic expectations are like maps that promise treasures that don't exist. They make us chase impossible ideals of perfection in ourselves, in others, and in the situations we experience. But are these ideals truly yours? Or have they been imposed by external influences like society or the media? To begin detaching from these, you must first recognize them with honesty. Ask yourself, do these expectations lift me up, or do they weigh me down? The next step is to practice acceptance. Acceptance of who you are, where you are, and the circumstances you cannot control. This doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means being a wise captain who learns to adjust their sails to the prevailing winds of reality. Appreciating the journey with all its imperfections. It means celebrating the small victories along the way, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, is valuable progress. By letting go of unrealistic expectations, you allow your life to flow more naturally, opening up space for surprises and joys that could never have been planned. 11. Gossip and the spread of negativity. Now we enter a territory often overlooked, but one which has a significant impact on our well-being: your participation in gossip and the spread of negativity. Imagine that every word you speak is a seed you plant in the garden of your life and the lives of others. When you choose words of support, encouragement, and positivity, you plant seeds that grow into trees of kindness and understanding. Conversely, when you engage in gossip or negative talk, you are planting thorny weeds of misunderstanding, distrust, and conflict. Participating in gossip may seem harmless, a simple form of social connection, but in reality, it devalues both the person being spoken about and, more importantly, yourself. It signals that you are a person who deals in negativity. So, how can we choose a more positive path? First, become aware of the conversations you participate in. When a dialogue veers into gossip, gently change the subject or highlight something positive. Second, practice empathy. Before speaking about someone, ask yourself, would I want this to be said about me? This simple question is a powerful guide. And lastly, remember that change starts with you. By choosing not to partake in gossip and negativity, you are not only protecting your own integrity but also setting a powerful example for others. You're actively choosing to cultivate a healthier garden for everyone. We have journeyed through 11 crucial removals. We've talked about closing doors on painful relationships, pruning unnecessary goals, and letting go of the need for approval. But this process is not about loss. It is not about emptying your life. It is about making space. By quietly chiseling away the dead weight, the negative influences, the harmful habits, the unrealistic expectations, you create a vacuum. And nature abhors the vacuum. Into that space will rush what truly matters: authentic relationships, meaningful goals, inner peace, and a powerful sense of purpose. You are the master sculptor of your own life. With every piece of excess stone you remove, the masterpiece within is revealed. What stands before you now is not an empty space, but the raw, powerful form of your true self, ready to be polished and perfected. This journey of quiet removal is not a one-time event, it is a daily practice. If you are committed to this path of becoming the master sculptor of your own life, then your work is just beginning. Hit the like button as a signal that you are ready to start chiseling away what no longer serves you. And if you're ready to join a community of fellow creators, artists, and architects of a well-lived life, then subscribe to this channel and become a part of this journey. Until next time, subtract the noise and add to your soul.